My next Mutation review. Yeah, when I was young, I was a serious Turtles fan. The animated series was one of those shows that you just don't forget. The exotic villains, Krang, the guy that's a talking brain, Shredder and his Foot Clan, the cool Technodrome, to the aliens, even the side villains like Baxter Stockman, and of course the Turtles themselves. Pizza and getting on Splinter's nerves. The arguments on who's leader, all the crazy inventions Donnie made that blew up in their faces or stuffed their faces with pizzas, Splinter, and even Orokusaki's backstory. Lasting 10 years is very, very rare for a cartoon. It showed the power of the brand. When the live action movie came out, that was something totally different. At that point, I had started reading the original comics. There were so many things about the Turtles. I wanted to see where the series came from. Now, I'm not going to sit here and gush over it. The show got canceled for a reason. It eventually got stale. They didn't really know where to go, and that god-awful third film shouldn't have been made. I really wasn't upset. 10 years is long enough. You need to know when to quit. As the series wrapped up, the other popular martial arts show, Power Rangers, was on its 5th season. Saban had found a golden goose of a franchise. You had a very popular animated series fighting bad guys. Why not make a live-action TV series? People love the films, people love Power Rangers, but Saban's company was not the right choice. Power Rangers and TMNT have similar elements, but are different things. The comedy that Power Rangers does isn't the same in TMNT. This is the first big problem I had with it. Where the series fits into the universe, it doesn't have a proper continuity point. It's close to the movies, with the base being in a similar looking subway station from the second film, but ignores lots of the things that happened in that movie. Super Shredder didn't happen, and it doesn't line up to the animated series, with it missing 80% of the characters. If you expect Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady to show up, grab that box of tissues. I was totally open to it. Some concepts they came up with were not bad. What went wrong here was that the writers took all the bad stuff from the third film, the dumb jokes, the stupid bad guy plots, and cranking it all up to 200%. The only thing good to come out of the series was the Lightspeed truck. It got repurposed 2 years later for that season. The first thing that goes wrong is the screw-up of Shredder. Not him being removed from the series, the way it was done. The animated series ran out of steam. The live-action show does not need to repeat this problem, but you can't make Shredder look like an idiot. The series and first film made him menacing. You hated him. He had some really messed up ideals. James Avery was such a perfect voice.
You despicable imbecile.
When you hear the actor in this show who played him, that strong man behind the mask was not there. It gets worse with the Foot Clan members. These guys in the cartoon just fought the Turtles. Rarely did they ever speak. Special high-ranking characters were made to give a voice to the Foot. Here, we see moron characters cracking jokes in front of Shredder. All of them are stupid in some manner. It was not funny.
But I have a yellow-blooded caterpillar.
This really undermined Shredder, and they basically didn't care because they were writing the Foot out of the series for the new bad guy. This part is one of the good things I can give the show. They introduced us to the Rank, dragon demons that were imprisoned in the dream dimension, another thing added to the series. Splinter and a friend of his already knew of this place. It was pretty cool. The CG environment demons were tormenting Chun-Li, a friend of Splinter's, as he was trying to figure out what was going on. But don't get too happy, these characters soon get sidelined for crappier, cheaper characters. The backstory was that these people of the Rank were imprisoned Phantom Zone style. They did horrible things, and now they have the power to finally escape. All this new story is to link and introduce us to Venus de Milo, the lost 5th turtle. Sadly, another problem of the series. The idea of this turtle, I'm open to it. There were 5 turtles that got dropped into the ooze, but the 5th one was found by Chong-Yi, who ended up bringing her to China, so no one ever met her. The annoying thing this did was break the animated series origin story by not making the turtles blood related. They knew this was canon, but because they wanted Mikey to try to ask her out as a reoccurring joke, they retconned this. If a joke requires you to change established story, don't do it. The problem I have with Venus was the way they introduced her and personality. Venus's weapon was her ability to control magic powers. Not great at it, but it's something new. Speaking of weapons, the Turtles don't use their weapons that often. I'm assuming it's the whole ratings thing, or they were still spooked by the parents' complaints from the animated series, and they still were having the whole nunchuck problem with Mikey here. So he either didn't use a weapon, and when he did, it was a tonfa. Although they were okay using them as scene transitions. Can we have consistency here? Venus's personality was a big letdown. You don't want her to just act like the other Turtles. She needs to be her own character, except she's just Splinter 2.0. She makes the same mistakes with slang and references, that straight, serious, deadpan type of dialogue, and she likes to be philosophical.
I was schooled in the internal arts and raised to replace him as a master shaman someday.
You couldn't think of any other type of personality to give her? She didn't get any real good episode about her that stood out. She mainly showed off that she could fight really good, but that's as far as it went. There was no Raph having problems being a part of the team, Leo trying to figure out how to be a leader, Donnie screwing up inventions. Venus just had, I need to learn magic, stop Mikey from asking her out on dates, and I can't remember lines like easy as pie. She'd say things like as easy as cake. The dumbest thing they did was her introduction. I've been a fan of the Turtles at that point for years, so all the episodes and movies, and the way you want to show Venus's first encounter of the Turtles is for her to break into the lair and tie up the Turtles to the ceiling? Why would you do this? Chung-Yi is a close friend of Splinter. The world is endangered by this dragon demon clan. Splinter is trapped in the dream world, so Venus has to go rescue him. Why would she attack the Turtles like this? This is completely out of character, first of all, and she doesn't even know the other Turtles. Chung-Yi never told her of her true origins, which was already weird, since, you know, giant talking turtle would be an obvious giveaway that she's different. A new character needs a big introduction. That's not a problem. The scene right before this was the Foot Clan had followed Raph back to the lair. They broke in and started fighting. Wouldn't it have made more sense to have Venus show up during this fight and help out the team? We'd see her martial arts skills, the team working together, her passion in saving Splinter's life, and the important thing, not make her look bad. This turned me off from her. They had a perfect way to do this. Raph screws up, Foot Clan finds the lair, they have to fight unprepared, part 1 ends on a cliffhanger, part 2, bring in Venus. The pilot has 5 parts. Let things breathe. You're throwing a lot of new stuff on the audience. And there's still other things that don't make sense. When Venus comes in and tells everyone that Splinter is trapped in the dream world.
What about leprechauns? Are there any leprechauns there?
Like, what? Regardless of the continuity issues, most of what happened in the show and movies had to have happened. They've dealt with mutated monsters, crazy scientists, a guy who can control rats, but the dream world, that's too far? Your leads are a bunch of shop turtles that can talk. Is this the same person who wrote the old lady dialogue in Drakina's Revenge where she said there's no such thing as monsters? Yeah, a character in Power Rangers said there's no such things as monsters. But before we can deal with Splinter, the Turtles need to get rid of Shredder. He's only been the main villain for 10 years, so we're gonna get an epic final takedown. Him getting arrested, or the Turtles will have no choice but to kill him. Only in my dreams, Venus uses her magic powers and pushes Orokusaki to the surface so he can see what he's become. So now Shredder has multiple personalities? I'm sorry, but that's not the character. Shredder willingly went evil by himself. Why he went evil is different depending on the comic version or the cartoon version, but both reasons was he wanted power and didn't care who was in his way. He isn't Anakin Skywalker or Ken Ichijoji being manipulated. Next Mutation turned Shredder into a moron and has 2 personalities. Granted, the animated series made his character stupid by the end, but that doesn't excuse this. These were the things that pissed me off and started the series on the wrong foot. I'm hoping it would get better. No, it doesn't. The rank do escape when they rescue Splinter from the dream world, and that's really it. We get pretty much generic stories. It's mostly steal magic item to give me more power or use science to make something powerful, like an invincibility serum. They would just repeat this without delving into the rank's backstory. And they can't resist making an episode where they have to find a magic potion to stop the dragon leader's bad headaches. Get it? Reference? Ugh. The budget really kills the show, but I am grateful they do film episodes in real light instead of faking it, but that's all I can really muster. The writers felt hogtied with the stories. This is why you stick to animation. I mean, for God's sakes, they had introduced us to other sets of villains. This time, it was these gangster acting talking gorillas led by one called Silver.
I clawed my way up from the Bigfoot ghettos of the Himalayas to the Big Apple.
Gee, I wonder where they got that idea from. He's being played by Gary Chalk, and it's 1997, almost like he played a voice of a talking gorilla somewhere else. And then they had Bone Steel, the wisecracking, snarky poacher that wants to kill the turtles for trophies, played by Scott McNeil. Well, they're ripping off Optimus Primal elements, let's rip off Rat Trap on top of it, and make him act like Bulk and Skull. I don't want to be mean, but the show was making it very hard to appreciate things, especially when the sound team is adding endless amounts of funny sound effects whenever Bone Steel moves his head or makes a joke.
That you and I have mutual interests.
Remember how Power Rangers used to do the whoosh sounds when they would strike a pose? Now do that, but put that on top of the civilian scenes and when they just move their heads. McNeil and Chalk did what they could do with the material, but nothing really gelled. There were other villains done like Dr. Queeze, who was basically Baxter Stockman. I'll give them this character. They did try here. He created clone turtles. His plans were actually decent. He tricked Donnie into helping him in his first appearance. That's how he got the clones. More of this, please? Not this other nonsense like the Vampire Queen character Vamay, who became a joke. She was originally stopped by Chang'e by ripping her heart out. She got awoken in present time by two other vampires. She's just a whatever character. I want my revenge on Venus because she's the only one linked to Chang'e. All these characters sideline the main bad guy. To top it off, there's no resolution to the story. It got canceled after one season, so it ends on unanswered questions. Like I said, there are pieces of things I like from it, but there was just too much damage done at this point. I really hated the third TMNT movie. Next Mutation was the nail on my door. Since then, I never went back to the franchise. Wait, before you write, I know there's later series done that were good, but I just don't care to watch them anymore. And when they do something dumb again, like the CGI movie in 2014, yeah, I want to see turtles that look like this. It just brings up those bad memories again. This all comes down to the writers and the budget. It was always going to be a hard sell in making live action turtles. Saban gets away with a lot on Power Rangers because they use footage from another series. That's how they cover up lots of the shortcomings. But these villains were not good. They heavily relied on one-liners and jokes, trying way too hard to be funny. Turtles is more than just being funny. I will say one thing, the original characters, at least they got them right. Well, besides Shredder. Each of them was there, they did tone down the whole pizza thing, but that never bothered me. But the rest, big disappointment. But I would like to see someone take a crack at these characters again. If they can write a comic or something, give these characters personalities, and to get them to be proper evil, not dumbed down evil to satisfy complaining parents, I'd be willing to give them a second chance. Thanks for checking out the review. Subscribe if you want to see more, and if you remember a movie or show that's long been forgotten, good or bad, leave it as a suggestion below. I'm always on the lookout for obscured stuff.